The way that Artistworks came about was it was created by one of the original founding team of AOL, America Online, which became this massive company. And his name David Butler, and when David decided to want to go and do something else, next challenge, done AOL, and his big passion was guitar playing, jazz guitar playing specifically. And he was going to teachers, and he was flying to go and see this teacher, that teacher, and he thought, this is not a very efficient way of learning. There must be, both from the teacher's perspective and the student's perspective.
So I came up with the idea of maybe there was something we could do on the internet. This was in 2006, and back then the typical internet speeds weren't that great, and so my teacher was willing to teach me using Skype or iChat or things of that nature, and I thought, well, there's the answer. But instead of me taking a lesson, it would be an hour of me saying, I can see you, but I can't hear you, and I see you, but your hands don't match what you're playing, and like an hour would go by of technology glitches, and it didn't work. So I just thought there has to be something that I can do, and I went away and I really thought about it for quite a long time, and I came up with this idea of creating a subscription website where the actual instruction was pre-recorded, because I had learned from sitting in on a lot of private lessons that private lesson teachers often say the same things over and over again. Even to the same student, they say the same thing over and over again. But like one student leaves, another one comes in, and they hear the same thing too. Because by and large, students are clumped into a large group of intermediates, and they're all learning pretty much the same thing. And so the concept was to pre-record the lessons and then do the interactions with the student only. So the teacher no longer has to keep repeating himself over and over again. Capture it once, do it well, with the best technology available, best lighting, the best camera angles that you could figure out. Take that extra effort one time and then never have to do it again.
Essentially the way that it works is that the teacher comes in, they film their entire curriculum. It takes them about 7 days, 6-7 days, pretty intensive days of filming everything from absolute beginner lessons all to advanced. And it's broken down into lots of bite-sized chunks. So we break each lesson, normally is about 5 minutes. So in each school you might have anywhere from 150 to 400 or 500 initial curriculum videos on that particular instrument from that particular teacher. And what happens is students work their way through the video curriculum, and at certain points the teacher will say, okay, now I want you to send me a video in of you practicing that particular piece or that technique, and the students use their webcam or their iPhone or their iPad, whatever they have, they film themselves practicing the piece, submit it on the site, and then the teacher goes through these videos from the students and does a video response. It might say, hi Robert, that's great, you need to work a little bit more here in the vibrato on this section, and just give that feedback. But what's really cool about it is that all these videos, both the student's submission and the teacher's response, are seen by the entire student community. Each artist essentially, or each teacher essentially gets their own school. So it's the Martin Taylor Guitar Academy, or it's the Howard Levy Harmonica School. What we're doing now is within each of these schools, we have overarching academies. So we'll have the Academy of Bluegrass. And within that, we'll have the Tony Trischka School of Banjo, the Missy Raines School of Bass, the Andy Hall School of Dobro, for example. So each of them kind of stands alone, and they're in an overarching academy.
Having covered a genre, we did bluegrass first, building on our very successful Tony Trischka Banjo School. That was one of our most successful undertakings. Once we did that genre, it just naturally occurs, well, what other genres should be done? And I think on a kind of personal level, I don't really understand why we shouldn't cover all genres pretty much and make it available for everybody. So in a way, it's a business, but it's also, I've been calling it the Artistworks Music Instruction Genome Project.
If you sign up to be a student of, say, the Dobro School or the Fiddle School, you sign up, you get all the lessons within there, you chat with other fiddle players, but you can also hang out at what's called the hub within the overall academy, which is almost a bit like the refectory or something within a university, where you talk with other people that are interested in the same genre as you. And so one of the strange repercussions of this is that suddenly you're finding, a fiddle player and a dobro player who are in Berlin in Germany didn't realise they were each there. They're both in the same music, and suddenly they're going, "Oh, you're a student as well. Oh, okay, we should get together and form a band." And then you also find that our teachers go to different countries and different cities, and suddenly there's 30 fiddle players there. They're all students, and they're all been meeting up at coffee shops and jam sessions and things as well, basing their themselves around the brand of that teacher and learning, because they're all learning this, the same method.
And I tell people like Martin and Thomas, I really believe in my heart that 200 years from now, 300 years from now, people will be studying your method. Yeah. We can't do that with a lot of the great musicians and virtuosos of the past, but starting now, we'll be able to do that.
If you go onto YouTube, I think it's Martin Taylor, the song is True, it's one of his own compositions, and if you go on there, and I think there's hundreds of Korean and Japanese guitar students that now this is almost like a standard work for them, because some of them are already students on the site, but others have heard other students playing it in their country, and they're playing it now as well. So you get some strange repercussions that go on because of that. We have an extremely high retention rate because the quality of the videos and the lessons are so good. But also, like here, for example, students are uploading a lot of information about themselves to share with other students, and their lessons live on here, and their responses live on here, and they form friendships with people here as well. The other big thing is this personalised learning, which is very different from traditional DVDs, or if you download lessons online. Is you're actually going to get top artists, Grammy Award-winning artists, for example, or great teacher, giving you personalised feedback on your particular issue. And at the same time, getting access to, if you have an issue around vibrato, you can see all the lessons that teacher has given to other students, feedback on vibrato. So it sort of increases that, and that's that kind of community-based learning model kind of comes in. So they're the advantages. We don't have kind of gradings, and we don't do accreditation or anything, but that's actually probably will change sometime soon, because there's a whole new thing happening called the badges system that companies like Mozilla and Duke University and other people involved in, where there's a lot of non-formal education going on just now outside of big universities and colleges, and people want that reflected. They want to be able to show, I've studied at this, I've done this online course, and so there's a whole ecosystem that's in the process of being created by some of these big technology companies to have badges. A bit like the Scouts. You can imagine you've got your badges for your different things, and these badges can be shared across platforms. So you can on your Facebook site you can have all your badges. You can on your LinkedIn site you can have all your badges, and so that's quite an interesting development. It's not in the traditional form of accreditation though. We're disrupting traditional education because we're trying to make available these great teachers to a wide number of people, so as many people as possible can get access to that, and they don't have to spend a lot of money going to a Juilliard or some of these big conservatories, because the issues with there is obviously the cost, and there's the other issue that has to do with visas and getting in and as well.
We don't see ourselves as creating a general kind of full competition to a bricks and mortar university, perhaps to a music conservatory. But even there, I think that what I think that in the end we'll probably do is expose more people to learning music. It's not so much that we're going to drain the existing conservatories of students. That's never been our, we don't feel that's our mission. And that's one of the reasons why we're so insistent to our teachers that they start at the very basic level. Because our target are the people who would really be enjoying and find music very fulfilling, who aren't playing